Regulation is always front and center, and it will be once again next year. In our Sweet 16 series, we spoke about everything from the CFTC's regulatory framework to the impact on innovation to harmonizing data. Here's what they had to say.
We're now 7 years out of the crisis, and our job is to look back and address the problems that contributed to the crisis, but we must also create a regulatory framework that provides a good foundation for future growth and innovation. So we're very conscious of that as we think about our rules and how we're regulating the industry. We want to make sure we're laying a good foundation for future innovation and growth.
What we hope that will happen is that folks actually are able to start stepping back from the onslaught of regulations and a fundamental change in culture that has occurred. Certainly, post the financial crisis, you've seen greater emphasis on a compliance culture, and that is right and that is good. But to a certain extent, the pendulum has swung so far over at this point, we're wondering whether all innovation is being stopped. Many firms now are stopping businesses or not getting into businesses because they don't understand or they're afraid of the consequences of going the wrong way. And that's a good reaction, but I'm afraid, as Tracy McDermott, the acting CEO of the FCA, said just a couple of weeks ago in a public presentation, the pendulum has probably gone too far the other way, and we need to get it back in the middle.
Look at the spate of regulations that have been passed and how well they're working, and specifically for the filings that are new filings that regulators are receiving now, whether they're the risk exposure reports or the chief compliance officer annual reports or the pool operators filing their PQRs. At some point you've got to step back, look at what you're getting, and say how much of this helps us do our job better as regulators and how much of it doesn't. What changes do we need to make to those forms to make them work better?
Data is being collected and it's serving certain uses, but there's still more work to be done. That work needs to be focused on the data quality, and particularly around data standards. How do we start to get some harmonization of the data elements? Not just a US problem. It's something that has to happen on a global scale because OTC derivatives market is inherently cross-border, and we need this to be addressed at the cross-border level in terms of common data standards that span across a multitude of fields. I think 2016 is an important, say, foundational year to really start to change the conversation to usability of data and cross-border data access. And that is really a theme that's cutting across many areas, whether it's trade reporting, whether it's clearing and cross-border recognition or equivalence. 2016 is going to be very important in terms of how we lay the framework for enabling, at least as it relates to trade reporting, enabling that cross-border data access and the real usability of the data, which is understanding systemic risk.